Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the BVS Film Productions CommTALK podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Paty Johnston, and she is a procrastination and ADHD life coach. Welcome, Paty.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you for having me here. It's such an honor.
Oh, my pleasure. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What exactly do you do? What is a procrastination ADHD life coach?
Okay, to respond to that question, I must start with my story from a long time ago. So
Oh,
I am the founder of a program called How to Stop Procrastinating in 30 Days. I'm a
okay.
coach, and the reason I started with that is because I was born a procrastinator.
Aren't
My
we all?
favorite, oh my goodness, my favorite word was mañana. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, next week. Next year's my year for sure. But I did nothing. And I grew up with a family. My parents are really good parents, very disciplined, very systematic. And my sister, she thinks she's perfect, but she's not perfect.
Mhm.
She is almost perfect. And I
Okay.
was the opposite. I was very disorganized, very unfocused. I
Mhm.
discovered that I had ADD growing up. I have mild dyslexia.
So
And
for our listeners, what is ADD for the people that might not know that?
yes, definitely. So ADD stands for Attention Deficit Disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually two types. You mentioned the other one, ADHD. The H stands for hyperactivity. So it's the kids or the people that cannot stay still and they move and here and there. So they're a bit different, but at the end the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more on the ADD side. I don't need to be moving, but I get distracted very easily. I
Ah,
cannot focus. And so I start one thing and jump to the next. Uh, when I'm focused in something I like, I can do a lot of things, but generally I'm very distracted. I used to leave my backpack, my homework every day at school or in the house. I still have glasses that I replace every so often because I just, it doesn't register.
yeah,
And back then, people didn't know, my family didn't know what was wrong with me.
right.
It's like, look at your sister. She's so organized and she doesn't forget her appointments and you forget everything. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
So my dad, even one time we were having dinner, and my dad is a good dad, but he didn't know any better back then. We were having dinner, and on top of it all, I was very clumsy. So I spilled my milk in a dinner time, the four of us. And my dad looked at me and he said, oh my goodness, Patty, what's wrong with you? I don't see a future for you.
Uh,
I hope you can get a good husband someday because how are you going to survive this world? So I grew up thinking there was something really wrong with me.
you know what?
And
There's a lot of people like that out there. They're in the
yes,
same situation, right?
yeah, and but that's the thing. When you think, I thought I was the only one in the world,
Yeah.
right? I thought, and I still have clients that comes like, oh my goodness, so refreshing to see other people struggling with the same thing.
Yeah.
It's more common that we can even think about it right now. Good thing is there's more resources, there's more information now, and it's more accepted that okay, well, it's supposed to be called a disability, but reality is a different ability.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
And on top of it all, Dan, I got pregnant when I was a teenager.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh my
Well,
goodness. My
yeah.
Colombian parents were like, no, you ruined the rest of your life. So I came to the US as a single mom. My son was 3 years at the time. And then I decided I'm tired of feeling stuck. I'm tired. Like I knew, in spite of what my parents would say, I knew I had this much potential, God-given potential. But I was like so low in what I was actually doing.
Yeah.
So I decided to study psychology. uh, just to fix myself. And I discovered that procrastination is not linked to lack of time. We all have time, but procrastination is directly linked to emotions.
Yes.
And procrastination is directly linked to emotions. So when we're afraid, we don't move. When we feel overwhelmed, we paralyze. When we're anxious or depressed or angry, so what we do is we look for avoidance.
Yeah.
And the avoidance comes like, let me take a look at my phone, social media. Lord, I don't want to, like in the past, I was in sales. And I
Hmm.
used to wake up every day and say, oh my goodness, I need to follow up with 5 clients today.
Right.
But I was dreading it because I didn't want to feel rejected.
Well, that was
I
that 100-pound phone you have to pick up, right? That was the
exactly.
thing, right?
That is it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I have to do this. But
Mhm.
reality is I had fear of rejection. I had fear of the unknown. I had fear of failure.
Yeah.
So every day, Dan, I would wake up and say, okay, I'm gonna call 5 people. But before I do, let me check Facebook really quick.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, so and so got married and they didn't invite me. I cannot believe this. Let me take a look. And then click, 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 click. And then 2 hours later, it's like, oh my goodness, there's my morning.
Yep.
I
There's
didn't have time to call these people,
right.
but I will call them tomorrow.
Mhm. Which never comes.
Exactly. It's just an avoidance strategy. So once I realized that it was directly related to emotions, I created a system
Mm,
that helped me get unstuck.
okay.
And one of the first things I said, I'm like, okay, so what do I want to do now that I'm strong and I know myself? So I decided to open up my own business.
Very good. Okay.
My son was 3, just got here in the US. I had saved $2,000. So I opened my own business with $2,000
Hmm.
and I sold it 18 months later for $500,000.
Outstanding.
I
Congratulations.
couldn't believe it.
Nice. Nice.
I've never
So
seen
tell
that
us the
much money
secret to
altogether.
tell us the secret to your success with that. How did you
Yeah.
build your business and go from there?
Yes. So um, the background reason is because I had worked on myself. I had realized the why I was stuck before. I worked on my emotions and I implemented my system.
Hmm.
But this is how it looked.
Yeah.
So you will not believe it was a mechanic shop.
Mhm.
And I didn't know about mechanic at all. I didn't know what a radiator was.
Yeah.
So I played some radio commercials. I went to a local radio station and they were playing like a 1 minute commercial every day. And it would bring 1 or 2 clients a day.
Mhm.
And then one day they called me, this was a while ago, and they said, Patty, the CD broke. So we have no way to play it for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my goodness, guys, it cannot be. I'm surviving with the 1 or 2 clients.
Yeah.
And they said, well, maybe you can do the commercial live. Just 1 minute, say it live. I'm like, oh, but what am I going to say? How many people are going to be listening? And they said, oh, just 150,000. And I was like, what?
Hmm.
And so because I didn't know anything about mechanic, I was very nervous. What am I going to say?
Hmm.
So this is what I said. I said, I'm the owner of a mechanic shop and I have no idea about mechanic. But this is what I know. As a woman, I feel very vulnerable when I go to a mechanic shop because of my lack of knowledge. I feel they're taking advantage of me.
Hmm.
Reality is, I have really good mechanics and I'm here to protect you. So if you want an honest person that is on your side, here I am. Oh my goodness, Dan. People, ladies especially, were
Oh,
calling, and I had like a waiting list of months.
wow.
So
Now, how did you get to know these mechanics? How are these people that you?
I no, I just well, first I started telling people I want to open my own business. I want to open my own business. And then somebody said, "Oh, I know somebody who's selling a business." I'm like, "Good. How much are they asking?" And they said, "Oh, 2,000." I'm like, Yes, I have $2,000. What's the business? And he said, it's a mechanic shop. I'm like, a mechanic shop? And he said, the place is ready with the base, and he already has two mechanics working for it. If you want, he just tired of the business. You can start.
Hmm.
He not only was tired, but he was making no money.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why, I just came to the business and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. But anyway, it turned around really quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
A single mom, immigrant, ADD, dyslexia, and everything else.
yeah.
So that's why
So,
I say to people,
oh,
I can, if I did it, anyone can.
right. No, that's amazing. And about what time frame was this? How many years ago?
This was in 2004.
2004.
And I sold it end of 2000, mid 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I had money, then I started investing in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And my broker back then said, "Oh, Patty, it's gonna take you a long time to sell anything because there were 44,000 realtors in Tampa alone." I was in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, he didn't know I had a system. And by the end of my first year, I got ranked number 10 out of the 44,000. Dan, I couldn't believe it
Oh,
again.
holy.
So that's why. So I opened my own real estate company, and then I sold it for a lot of money 2 years later.
Wow.
Uh, and that's when people started. Oh, you know what my dad said when I sold that second company for that much money?
Hmm.
He came and said, Patty, I've always believed in you. I'm like, no, Dad, you didn't, by the way.
Oh boy. Yeah.
uh, but
So it
that's how
seems
I
like you've
became
had
a
a lot
coach.
of luck coming your way. That's fantastic. It's a positive attitude, no procrastination, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's how I became a coach because a lot of people started coming to me and saying, tell me your secret.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll tell you what I do. And every
Mhm.
time I taught the people my system, my emotional intelligence system,
Mhm.
they would double their sales, they will start exercising, they would get husbands, they would start taking action.
Yeah.
And action brings results. So that's why I do what I do today.
Oh, okay. So now, who would be your perfect client if you were to? Now, is it one-on-one coaching, or do you have like a training program that you offer?
Yeah, so I have different tiers, but mostly is either one-on-ones or we do it as a group.
Okay.
But the difference is I don't like big groups because I was born an introvert
Mm-hmm.
and I can get lost when there's a lot of people. So
Okay.
what I do is I open small groups every week. People that join, I open a very small group so
Mhm.
that we can have that intimacy of sharing our struggles or
Sure.
sharing our wins, and we get to know each other. So it's just beautiful to see the people that come to me hesitant, disappointed on themselves, and all of a sudden they're one lady actually joined last week and lost 6 pounds in her first week of joining the program.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
And this is not a weight loss program, but people
right.
take action.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and some of the questions you had here were, what are some of the cycles of procrastination and different types of procrastination? I mean,
Yes.
does that all fit?
So we all have certain patterns.
Mhm.
We don't do things once. We all, in every area of our lives, you can take a look. If you did it once, you're going to do it again. So
Yeah.
there's a cycle that we follow, right? And then cycle is basically you avoid the pain, the fear, the anxiety, and replace it for pleasure,
Right.
meaning the social media or doing whatever else.
Yeah.
But after that, there's guilt that comes. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, here we go again, another day wasted, another week wasted, another year wasted.
Right.
And then after guilt comes even more increased anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's like anxiety, pleasure, guilt, anxiety. And if you follow that cycle many, many times, like I used to do, you become angry
Sure.
at yourself because you're like, how is it that I know exactly what to do and still don't do it?
Yeah.
So that's what I call the cycle of procrastination.
Mhm.
And you mentioned something else, which is pretty interesting. I did not know, many years, but there are actually different types of procrastinators. Not
Sure.
all procrastinators look the same.
Hmm.
So I'm going to tell you there are 5 types. Okay.
Oh, they're five.
Yes, there are 5 types of procrastination.
Okay.
So the first one, and for whoever's listening out there, just if you are one of them, just raise your hand. Uh, the first one, perfectionist. Perfectionists will not do things until they think it's perfect. Oh, it's good, but I don't think it's good enough.
Hmm.
So what happens? Things are not getting done. And perfectionism is linked to fear,
Yeah.
fear of judgment from others, fear of failure. So that's the first one, perfectionist. The second one, daredevils. Oh my goodness, I was the queen of the daredevils. So the
Sure.
daredevils are the ones that have a project for 1 month. And when do they do it?
The day before.
Absolutely. Hopefully the night before, and then last minute, and I
I
made it.
kind
Even
of fall into that. I'm gonna raise my hand on that one.
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
And then, the printer breaks or the car didn't work, and then you're so stressed. I used to be so proud of going to the airport at the last minute, and they would say, no, the plane is closed. And I'm like, please, please, please. And then I made it. And I'm like, oh, you see, I still made it. So the daredevils are very proud of working at the last minute. And like I used to say, I just work really well under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just an
Sure.
excuse that
Right.
doesn't exist. Actually, it's the opposite. The stress level is so high that end up, disturbing our lives and
Well,
our health.
the opportunity to fail is much higher, and it often
Absolutely.
happens, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. You
Right.
cut corners. It's not a healthy way of living.
Right.
So that's the second one. The third one is the chickens. Oh, I love the chickens. So the chickens come to me. They're doers. They do a lot. So they come to me and they're like, Patty, of course, I'm not a procrastinator. Look
Yeah.
at me. I'm busy all the time. I do things. I thought being a procrastinator was being lazy,
Yeah.
but that's not the case. They don't know how to prioritize. So
Oh,
again, they're avoiding certain tasks, but they want to look busy to themselves and to others. So
uh,
they're very busy, but not very productive.
right. Right.
I don't know if you ever had a long day and you're like, oh my goodness, what a long day, but I didn't do much or
Oh,
accomplish
I
much.
was, yes, I do have those, right?
Yes,
Because
that
you
was the
don't,
story of my life.
yeah, and you don't prioritize correctly, and oh yeah, I've got a story.
Yes.
When you're done with the five, I have a story to tell you about. Eat that frog. I'll explain later.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect, perfect.
go ahead.
Okay, so that's the chickens. The next one is the ostrich. So the ostrich are the dreamers.
Mm.
Oh, they're millionaires in their minds, and you talk to them. It's like, I have this idea, and it's gonna be amazing. But they don't take action because they're afraid of risks.
I think a lot of younger people are in that
Yes,
mode right now.
100%.
It's you just see it everywhere. They have these,
Everywhere. Big plans, but no action.
yeah,
And it's a lot of it, it's fed by social media. Like dreams. Of course we need to dream big. Of course dreams are good,
yeah,
but it's not enough. It's not enough. If you don't take action on those dreams, they're
yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
So those are the ostriches. They avoid. Oh, if everything's okay, someday I'm working on it, but they
yeah.
don't take action. And last but not least are the self-saboteurs. So the self-saboteurs are those who know exactly what to do, but either they don't do it or they do the opposite.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yes.
That
Like
probably doesn't fall to me, but I do know people that could possibly do that. Yeah. They
yes,
they probably do it and we don't even know that they're doing it.
absolutely.
You see the results,
Self-sabotage.
right?
Yes, and it's very, very common. Self-sabotage is very much associated with self-image.
Mhm.
Like I was one of them. Like I didn't think I deserved certain things
Yes. Yeah.
because I'm not good enough. So I would not take the step kind of to match my expectations of my own self.
Right.
And so that's why I'm so passionate. And this is not like we've been lied to before, Dan. It's like, oh, just get a calendar and then just write a to-do list. It doesn't make sense. It's based on emotions.
Right.
Until you unpack the why is this affecting your life today,
Like,
you cannot change it. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge or what you don't are aware to. So that's why I'm so passionate. So those are the 5 types of procrastinators.
good. Well, staying in that animal theme,
Yes. Tell me
Austin,
the story.
so there's this old sales technique, and it's back when Zig Ziglar and everybody was around talking about it.
Yes.
It's called Eat That Frog. Now,
Okay.
if you have a hard task to do, and a lot of this has to do with prospecting, usually with sales, prospecting is the hardest thing you can do,
Yeah. Yes.
picking up the phone and whatnot. So if you had to eat one frog a day, would you want to eat it in the morning or the end of the day? Everybody, you should, if you eat it at the end of the day, you're going to be worried all day long until you get to that
True.
that you have to eat.
Yeah.
If you eat
Yes.
the frog in the morning, everything else is going to taste great the rest of the day.
Ah, so I
So,
love that. Yes, a hundred
so
percent.
it's
Yes, yes, yes.
it's so
Completely
funny because I
agree.
tell my wife every day, I come downstairs to say, I got to eat that frog right now. Jokes about it.
I love that. I love that. It's so true.
Yeah,
Uh, there are people though that even when they want to eat the frog in the morning, they paralyze and they
right,
can't and they avoid. So that's what I do. We unpack the why and then we create a plan. The other thing is accountability.
right.
How many times I said to myself, yeah, I'll do it. And then at the end, like, oh, I didn't eat the frog. Well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
So if no one knew that I was gonna do it, I didn't care. Believe it, which is so sad. I didn't care.
yeah.
But if somebody else is keeping you accountable, then you're responsible for that. So that's the other part I do, accountability with my people.
And that's really great. And so it's a whole process, and you kind of go through this with people. And so if someone wants to join your group, or is it like a course you would take, let's say?
Yes.
It's a full
Yes.
course, and you would be involved with it as well,
Yep.
whole thing. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
a
you
30-day course.
okay, okay. That's great. That's great. Um, so we talked a little bit about tips and secrets, maybe about how to stop procrastinating. So are there anything like that someone could do like today to start, to stop other than eating a frog or no, or that analogy? Is there something I could do like today to start, to really start fixing this?
Okay. So yes and no. So yes, always action will bring you to your results.
Hmm.
The thing with procrastination is not is like a one tip type of thing. Like do this and then you will make it happen. This is a process of unpacking
Yeah,
emotions,
yeah,
unpacking where you're at, realizing where you're going. So if there was one thing that I would advise people to do if you're listening and you're struggling with procrastination is reach out to me or to a professional specialist in procrastination
okay,
because this is not people that come to me have tried it all. It's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I wake up early or I have my list or I have a calendar or block time. But at the end, if you don't work on the deeper side of the why you're procrastinating, it's
yeah,
just going to be temporary change. And
right,
we want this to be longer term for it to change really.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the one thing is look for help. I'm a coach. I have a coach.
yeah, yeah,
It's
right. Right.
So it's better to look for professionals that will help you.
Yeah, there's another saying that says, they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yes, I love that.
I do see that a lot too. People, younger people that are, they get involved with something that's not productive for them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they all as a group do that. And it's, I didn't want to go with some of the things that are happening in the colleges today, but,
yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy what's
yes,
all around that.
yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
dealing with that. And so,
Yeah,
yes, and that's part of procrastination, obviously.
absolutely. And then people start fighting for things that they don't even understand.
Right.
Uh, when by failing, and I'm saying it for them and for me, that was a long time ago my problem, failing to look at myself
Yes.
of where am I and why am I here? Why am I standing up for this if I'm not even sure what I'm myself where I'm at? So
You know,
yeah,
people, they don't want to look at themselves. They
uh,
don't want to unpack or look under
yeah,
the hood, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So that's
Takes
what I
courage.
tell.
Takes
Uh,
courage.
Absolutely. It takes courage. And, I was talking yesterday so I have like small groups, so we meet a few times a week.
Mhm.
And this one lady said, I didn't realize I grew up in such chaos in my house
Yeah,
that's what I was reliving.
right.
Chaos, messy desk, messy days, here and there and there. And she's like, that was familiar to me. And now I have put in order my past, forgiveness, what happened to me that I didn't remember. And now I have cleaned my house, my mind, my emotions, so that at last one can be clear and productive.
Right, right. That's so true, and great to hear somebody else talking about that too, because it's
Yes, yes. And that's why that's why it's not like a one tip type of thing. It's a
right.
process. And this is the beautiful thing. So I take 30 days, it's very intensive. I
Mm,
used to go to therapy, to try to fix myself. I
yeah,
used to read books that I never finished, or, listen to other people that I was like, oh, that was good, but I didn't really change.
yeah,
So I realized you need to be intentional about change.
yeah.
And that's why I tell people take 30 days for you. Take
Right.
30 days to work on yourself. And a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, Paty, how are people going to change in 30 days? And then on day 3, I start getting testimonials. He's like, oh my goodness, Paty, my life is changing. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. Well, now let's say after the 30 days, they still have this. It's kind of like an alcoholic or something, you know. Let's say after
Yes,
30 days you have the itch to procrastinate again. Is there something that they can do? Is there like a refresher to keep in mind, or you have a book or
yes,
something that
yes. So, two things. Once they take my course, they can retake it over and over again.
once they take over? Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then we open like accountability groups so they stay accountable within the
Within
groups.
groups. Okay. That's
And third, which is important, what I tell my students is this is not a prescription. So
hmm
I don't tell people what to do.
yeah.
This is a principle, a system. And when you have systems,
Yeah.
then you know that you can do it over and over again. So you go off track or whatever life happens, then
Yeah.
you can go back and what did I learn about this system that I created? And then they can re-go again. So what I tell him is, when my son was growing up, I used to tell him his name is Santiago. I was like, Santi, you need to learn these things because I'm not gonna be with you for the rest of your life. And that's what I tell my students. You guys need to learn the system because I'm not going to be with you for the rest of your lives.
Right.
And that's what they do. They create a system for themselves. And I have had clients for years. They call me back. Oh my goodness, I'm still doing it. Or I'm still waking up at 6 a.m. Or I'm still, going to the gym every day. So it
Yeah.
does work.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, this has been great. So, how can people find you? What's your work? How do they reach you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna offer something special for your audience because you're absolutely amazing. And I want to bless others that are listening. So if you're connecting today and you think, oh my goodness, I think I'm a procrastinator, just reach out to me. We'll find out your type of procrastination, and then I will give you a no cost a consultation with me. We can just figure out where you're at and create a plan. I'll help you create a plan.
Oh,
So
that's really
if
nice of
you,
you. Thanks.
I love, people ask me about why you help so many people, Patty? That's what I was born to do, to help others. This
Yeah,
is more than a business. It's almost a ministry for me. So
great.
if you want to reach out to me, you can text me. I love text messages. It's 813-789-1097. You can text me again at 813-789-1097. Or if you want to go and take a look at my website is stopprocrastinatingtoday.com.
I love the name of that one. That's fantastic. Well, it'll all be in the show notes too for anybody that's listening today. So
Well, we can do something if you like, Dan, because we have like the 5 types of procrastination. I'm going to send you the link. Maybe we can put the link so that people can take a free quiz.
we will absolutely do that as well.
I love it.
Well, Paty, with one T, Paty.
Yes, Colombian Paty.
Columbia Paty. It's really been great having you on our show, and then we'll look forward to having this launched shortly, and our audience will be able to see it. So,
Yay,
thanks.
love it. Thank you
You have
so
a great-
much, Dan.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You too. See you next time.
Let's face it, everybody loves to make podcasts and vodcasts, but nobody wants to edit them. Well, except for us. At Premier Podcast Productions, we professionally edit and distribute podcasts and vodcasts for companies around the world. Our process is simple and affordable, allowing you to stay focused on what you do best, developing great content and building your subscriber base. From recording and editing to final distribution and marketing, we can help every step of the way to make your podcast stand out and get the results it deserves. Contact us today at premierpodcastpros.com to take your podcast to the next level.